She lie, beautiful and naked, on the massage table, relaxed, breathing deeply. Her eyes were closed. She was ready. I was standing next to her, clothes on. I'd never done this before, not like this. Following my intuition, I waved my arms in a pattern that my mind did not understand for perhaps 30 seconds. Nothing was happening. She wasn't moving. Was it even working? I put my hands down by my sides and relaxed. All of a sudden, she started moaning, spasming, writhing as a giant squirting orgasm overtook her, soaking the sheets. It lasted for some time. When she finally relaxed, we looked at each other, smiling in wonderment. Well, I guess that worked. This is my true story. It happened to me at my first energetic orgasm class over a decade ago. Up to that time, I had been studying Tantra for a couple years. If you Google energetic orgasm, you can find YouTube videos of people exploring this particular modality. I'm sure you may want to dive right in, but don't. Not yet. Listen to me first. I only want you to see what's possible with the movement and manipulation of sexual energy so that you can be motivated to learn and explore the furthest reaches of your own sexual and pleasure experience. Imagine that you could use the Force from Star Wars, but for orgasms. Would you be interested in that? You deserve more pleasure, lots more pleasure. How about 10 to 15 times more pleasure than you've ever known? Let me show you how. Why don't you enjoy sex anyway? At least as much as you could. You haven't been educated. Did your parents ever teach you about sex, really? When we think pleasure, we think sex. And where do we get our information about sex? We have TV and movies, which are unrealistic, and porn, which is also unrealistic, but in a different way. Porn sex is unrealistic because it's void of context, meaning what is happening feels wildly disconnected from our actual lives and is often purely physical. Movie and TV sex is unrealistic because it focuses on selling the show, sexy actors showing the sexy body parts and proving they're enjoying something that isn't even happening. Its purpose was never to educate, but education needs to happen. You can't really see sex, even porn sex. You can't really see what's happening on a physical level, much less the emotional, psychological, spiritual, and energetic levels. Yes, sex happens on all those levels, and so does pleasure. You may be familiar with the first four I just listed, but then I said energetic. What? Energetic. You see, in the West, we live in a context which starves us of information about our energetic bodies. We're taught that we live in a scientific universe with rationality as our guide, and that there's nothing we can't immediately easily demonstrate through our senses. Never mind that the same rational science asks us to believe in the Big Bang, dark matter, dark energy, black holes, atoms, and evolution. People who subscribe to that mode of thinking feel supremely rational and sometimes even superior to those who believe in that unproven invisible nonsense like God or true love. And yet, art, music, and love affect us in ways we can't explain, ways we can't rationalize. They give us experiences and emotions out of rational context and are a big part of life. And then there are psychedelics. Suffice it to say, there's a lot you can't see that, nonetheless, is real. Pleasure and orgasm are within that circle as well. I looked up some articles. One researcher claimed to have discovered the G-spot in 2012. Another article claims that the first anatomical analysis of the clitoris happened in 1998. What? If we ignore it, does it exist? If we pay no attention to it, does that make it not real? Let's talk about energy again. Eastern science and language have concepts around the energies which govern our bodies for thousands of years. You may have heard of qi or ki, yin and yang, prana, all forms of life energy found and addressed in healing modalities such as acupuncture and acupressure, now verified through modern studies to be effective. In addition, there's been modern names given to these energies as well, such as orgone, animal magnetism, or body electronics. You can look them up if you want to know more. Here's the secret. You cannot go past a certain level of pleasure without a basic understanding of and experience of the human energy field. I will say that again. You cannot get past a certain level of pleasure without a basic understanding of and experience of the human energetic field. While our human energy is important in health and wellness, it's also important in sexuality, pleasure, manifestation, and virtually every other area of life. We're aware of energy at its most gross levels, whether we're tired or energized, awake or sleepy. We understand how calories are necessary to run marathons or lift weights, but there's so many more riches waiting for us right beneath the surface. You don't need to believe me, nor do I need to try to convince you. I can give you some experiments that you can do right now on your own to magnify and feel this subtle energy within your own body. I really want you to try them. I really want you to try this. Go for it. All right? I want you to prepare by emptying your hands, getting rid of distractions, and sitting quietly and peacefully listening to my voice. Now, I want you to take your right hand and begin to shake it vigorously, as if you just touched a hot plate and it burned, as if you're trying to get something sticky off of your hands by shaking it. While you're doing so, I want you to breathe in very intensely and out again. Good. Keep going. And as a final step, I want you to make a lot of sound while you're doing it. Moan, yell, let it out while you're shaking that hand. Now stop. Feel the difference between the hand you've shaken and the hand which you have not. Do you notice the difference? Then I want you this time to do the same thing. However, shake both of your hands vigorously. Breathe in and out deeply and quickly, and make as much noise as you can. Yell, scream, shout, at least moan. I want you to keep this up. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep going. We're going to do it for a few more seconds. Keep going. Keep going. Counting down, breathing in and out, shaking both of your hands vigorously, deeply breathing, making as much noise as you can. Keep going. 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 Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. And stop. And now slowly try to move your hands together and feel what happens. Do you notice anything? Do you feel anything differently than normal? And go ahead and push your hands all the way together until they touch. What did you feel? So in the first experiment, many people feel that the hand that they shook, their right hand, is more alive. It feels tingly. It feels warm. And for the second experiment, what most people report is that they feel like they're pushing a balloon together, like they're trying to, that there's some invisible force between their hands pushing them apart. If you could feel that, then what you felt is body energy and how it works and how the body energetic field extends beyond the actual physical body out into the world. This is how energy works. I remember the first time someone showed me how subtle energies work. I was at a workshop and asked someone what she did. She said, Reiki. I asked, what is that? She put one hand on my arm and another on my back. I felt intense warmth. She asked what I felt. I said, your hands are very warm. She said, no, they're not. She reached out and I touched them and her hands were actually cold. The energy was warming me, not the actual physical warmth of her hands. One reason why I believe Star Wars was so popular is because George Lucas unveiled a secret that had been hidden for centuries, cloaked in a term for a sci-fi audience, the Force. The Force could give you greater perception and ability. You could move things with the Force. You could know things with the Force. And everyone who watched young Skywalker learn to use the Force, Luke, understood on some deep subconscious level that what he was doing was a metaphor of something that they knew had an analog in reality, even if they couldn't describe it. Maybe our fascination with superhero stories is rooted in this. Stan Lee made a series about real-life superheroes to find people who were able to do things that defied logic, such as being able to catch a hand in a bear trap without breaking your fingers. Some of the feats shown on the show were explainable scientifically, others were not. Demonstrations of energy in the Occident show people shocking others through the energy they generate in their bodies, performing miraculous healings, pushing chopsticks through a table, or setting fire to paper with nothing but their bare hands. Remember, whatever your belief about these things, and you don't have to believe if you tried my experiments, acupuncture and other Eastern healing modalities have studies that show that they work, and Western science has no real explanation for them. Nonetheless, a lot of this is very poo-pooed by many in our society who consider themselves rationalist. There is a massive effort by the media and education to hide and explain away any effects that might be attributable to some forces of body, mind, and spirit which we cannot yet understand. I would even go so far as to consider this a war. Why a war? This war could just be about profits and money, mind share, competition in the capitalist marketplace, but I also believe it has to do with control. Those with more money and power may fear that they'll lose it. Does it make sense that some of them at least believe that knowledge is power, and that by hiding knowledge from the people, they maintain greater power over them? If those who actually hold and hoard wealth and power know things that are immensely powerful, might they keep them from the common folk? Even from a misguided sense of keeping matches out of the hands of children. Stories I've heard in my own experience suggest that this might be the case. Now it's time to unleash this information for the world. We all deserve to understand how our bodies and our pleasure work. We all deserve to have power to enjoy our bodies, our lives, and the world around us to the fullest. We all deserve to have the abundant life that the Master spoke about so many years ago. I'm creating a course to explain exactly that. This has been your first lesson. Through our time together, I'll be sharing a path of new understanding, conception and experience about the microcosm, which is your body, the macrocosm, the world around you, and the forces at play between each to enable you to have greater pleasure, happiness, and joy than you thought possible. Come with me on this journey. Click the link in the description below, and I will tell you when this course is available and show you how to get it. I hope you found this interesting and informative. Please like, subscribe, and send me your comments and comment on the video. I look forward to going deeper with you soon. This has been Ryan Orrock. Hope you've enjoyed. Signing off.